The U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame presentation of the class of 2010 is brought to you by Bell Hospital, Peninsula Bank, Boss Snowplow, Holly Forest Products, A. Lindbergh & Sons, the United States Olympic Committee, Marquette Country, and the Ishpeming Rotary. Additional sponsors include the Iron Range Agency, Ishpeming Community Federal Credit Union, City of Ishpeming, Cliffs Natural Resources, Lake Superior Community Partnership, Northern Michigan Bank and Trust, Q107 WMQT, Upper Peninsula Power Company, Superior Health Partners, The Landmark Inn, The Eagle 100.3 The Point, All Seasons Floral and Gifts, The Mining Journal, Globe Printing, and Fry Chevrolet. And now, the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame's presentation of the class of 2010, recorded at Ishpeming's W.C. Peterson Auditorium during the 2011 Hall of Fame Week, September 16th through the 24th. Since the first time man strapped board to foot to conquer the frozen ground, there has been the passion. To not just cross the snow, but move through it, on it, over it. Some choose to get there fast, some to go far, and some to look good getting there. Although many have done well in this pursuit, some have reached a loftier plane and perfected it. Those are the heroes of the sport that we honor and make part of our Hall of Fame. Welcome to the presentation of inductees to the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hall of Fame President and CEO, Tom West.
Good evening and welcome to this special presentation and celebration ceremony for the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame class of honored members elected in 2010. We've experienced, this past week, I suppose, some questions about calling them the class of 2010. After all, isn't this 2011? Our national election for honored members takes place in the late summer each year. Approximately 120 people are involved in this process, and the induction and recognition of each class begins the following spring. Now, while this might be a bit confusing for some, the important thing to understand is that tonight we are celebrating the achievements of 6 of some of the greatest names in ski sports. These 5 men and 1 woman have represented the very best in our sport, and each one has a lesson for all of us, whether we love to ski or not. To be able to meet with them, to hear what they have to say, is a special privilege and opportunity that few people across our country have. Ishpeming is the birthplace of organized skiing in America, thanks to the vision and commitment of our first honored member, Carl Tellefsen. He was inducted when the Hall of Fame was first established in 1956. Tonight's class brings our total of honored members to 374. Now, while that might seem like a lot, consider that 55 years have passed since, and there are over 30 million skiers and snowboarders in this country. Truly, honored membership in the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame represents the very best in our sport. Before proceeding, I just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors whose names are on the back of your program as logos and company names. And if you have a chance to know somebody with those companies and run into them, say thank you to us for us. We also thank you for being here this evening. We know you will enjoy this presentation, and I hope be inspired in your own life by it. Thank you. And I almost forgot my most important duty. Please welcome to the stage our MC for the evening, the indomitable and one and only Frida Wara.
It's family reunion time. I just love it. And we really are a family. I mean, I'm an only child. You're my family because we're kind of peeps together because we love snow. And when you love snow, the places you can go and the people you can meet. And I just have a feeling that this is the best time of year to do this whole event in Ishpeming because we're at that crux. It's like, okay, it could be warm. We could do another bike ride. Get out there, but maybe not so many mountain bike rides anymore unless you're wearing a lot of orange because I know Marv's out there doing a lot of small game hunting and probably some other folks are too. But you get at that point where you look at the thermometer and it's 38 degrees. Yeah, it doesn't take much to make snow. And Steve already shared with me that he saw snow out on the basin the other day, so it's happening. And in Austria, there's already some snow falling in the Alps, so the Rabbinias are pretty excited about that. And that's what we get excited about. So what a great way to kick off the ski fever by having some of those heroes right here with us. And there are also some heroes already, honored members of the Hall of Fame that are here with us tonight, because I saw Coy Hill here. And those of you who have already been inducted to the Hall of Fame, please stand so we can recognize you. It is so special to have you here. Coy, thank you so much. An Ishpeming ski jumper. Now we have 6 more legends that we get to add to that list, and this is a pretty exciting night. Throughout life, do we need heroes? We need their stories, we need their trials, we need their accomplishments, because from those we're all made stronger. We work through their courage, we find more about their secrets for pursuing and persevering through some of the most challenging times of our lives. Our next inductee was just a teenager when she pledged her life to help others, a promise that she has kept.
Muffy Davis had no choice. She was destined to ski. Her parents, Dennis and Mary Beth, wanted a ski family, and besides, they thought the ski hill was the perfect daycare. By the time their first child, Muffy, turned 3, she was gliding. And by the time she was 7, this go-for-it little girl was racing. By 8, the hook was set. She was already dreaming of the Olympics. Growing up in Sun Valley, Idaho was the perfect place for Muffy's dreams to come true. Her ski team included up-and-comers like Muffy's rival, Peekaboo Street. By the time the two of them were in high school, they were topping the charts and headed for the U.S. development team.
We competed in riding our bikes in the summertime. We competed in getting around the hockey rink on our skates. There was never a moment when you could let up, because if I let up, she was right there and was going to take it from me.
On Saturday, February 18th, 1989, during downhill training, one turn would change everything. It was a run Muffy had skied hundreds of times. She clocked close to 50 miles per hour when she lost control on a sharp turn. She hit the first tree with her back, the second tree with her head. The impact shattered her helmet and severed her spine. At the hospital, it was her dad, the radiologist on call, who read the x-ray. Hospitalized from February through May, Muffy put her goal setting to another test, and school became her conquest. She ran for junior class president from her hospital bed, and went on to be homecoming queen and valedictorian. In 1995, she earned a biology degree from Stanford, specializing in disability studies. But even in sunny California, ski racing and Bald Mountain remained with her. The same mountain that for many years meant freedom now became her greatest challenge. The December after the accident, Muffy's mom took her to Winter Park to get her back on the snow. She tried to ski again, but her upper spine injury left her with no torso control. On a monoski, this former champion couldn't even link a turn. For Muffy, it was agonizing, like trying to ski in tennis shoes. She jokes now that the ski patrol took her down in the toboggan so many times they stopped strapping her in. But she never gave up. She was surrounded by supporters, including her hero, Gretchen Fraser, America's first Olympic gold medal skier. While Muffy was healing, Gretchen sent her a gold pin, a four-leaf clover that had been given to Gretchen after her 1948 Olympic win. A sign that Muffy would win her own Olympic medal too. The breakthrough came after college in 1995 when instructor Mark Mast put Muffy in a new monoski at Sarah Will's adaptive ski camp in Vail. The Yeti made all the difference. With better trunk support and stability, she flowed through the turns. The old rush was back, and 8 days later, she entered her first monoski race. Within 3 years, she was headed to Nagano for the 1998 Paralympics. Finally, a childhood dream had come true. From Japan, she brought home a bronze. 2 years later, she won gold at the World Championships, and in 2002 in Salt Lake, she took 3 silvers.
The silver medalist, representing the United States of America, Muffy Davis!
Over the course of her career, she earned 7 World Cup titles, including 2 back-to-back overall titles in 2001 and 2002. A year before her crash, Muffy wrote for a school assignment, "I am about success through determination. I am here to live the best I can, and through that, lead others into the best they can be." Today, Muffy is a motivational speaker, and with her husband, Jeff Burley, they travel the world teaching adaptive sports and recreation. In 2008, Ellie was born, and this couple had their daughter on skis as soon as she could walk. Along with Olympic medalist Gretchen Fraser, Kristen Cooper, and Peekaboo Street, Muffy Davis has a run named after her on Bald Mountain. And now, her name will also join them as an honored member of the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome world champion Paralympian Muffy Davis.
Wow, thank you so much. This is an immense honor. I never even dreamed of being inducted into the Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame. I set pretty high dreams and high goals for myself, but this was something I never even thought was a possibility, so it's such an immense honor, and I want to thank you all, and thanks for being here. And thank you to the Hall of Fame and the voting panel for this honor, and all of you in Ishpeming who come and cherish and relish the Hall of Fame. I haven't yet been inside, but I'm so excited to be able to go in there and see all of the other members and hopefully for eternity be there and be relished with all the amazing skiers that we have in this country. As someone who grew up on skis at such a young age and set a high goal at 7 years old to ski in the Olympics, I don't even know how I knew what the Olympics were at that age, but somehow I knew it, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then when my challenge came and my accident and my disability, and I thought that dream was over, as you can imagine, I was devastated. That was my life's mission and my purpose and what I always wanted to do, and I couldn't imagine any other way of accomplishing that. And I soon learned that there are a lot of ways, and that we all have challenges and we all have obstacles, but if we're creative and we find a new solution and a new way, we can get back out there and accomplish those dreams and overcome those obstacles. And I was fortunate. I found adaptive monoskiing and didn't have to change that dream and that goal, and was still able to get back out on the slopes where my passion and my soul was whole and was free. And I'll never forget that first day when I got on my monoski and I pulled it out of my truck by myself and I got in it all by myself and I went back out on that mountain and I got on the chairlift and I made the turns and I got that zing back from that ski and I remember, yes, this is skiing, this is what I love. And I knew that I would be back and I knew that I would be a ski racer again. And after time and with support from my friends and my family, was able to get back out there and to accomplish that dream as a Paralympian and to get up on that podium. And never in my dreams when I was 7 years old and set that goal did I think I would be sitting on that podium in a wheelchair. But I learned that I was still able to get there. And while it was different, accomplishing that dream and that goal from a wheelchair, it was by no means less rewarding or less meaningful. So I just want to share with you all, thanks, and no matter what your challenges or what your obstacles, be creative, find a new solution. You can get out there, you can accomplish it. We all have hard times, but if we work hard and we support each other, we can get there and we can accomplish things that are even beyond our dreams. So thank you so much for this honor. Thank you so much to the Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame and all of the members in the voting panel. And keep skiing. It's the best sport in the world. Thank you.
Muffy Davis here from Utah with her husband and her daughter, and you're going to get a chance to hear some more from her later tonight. Thank you, Muffy. Skiing is a family sport. This is the family reunion. We're connected by snow. I do know that skiing is also how I hooked my husband. Got him to stay here in the UP, and then we had 2 kids, and they make their money on the mountains too. But one family in this country has also made ski racing and Olympic competition a chapter in their family history.
Mickey and Ginny Cochran didn't set out to raise a family of Olympians, but they did want their children to grow up in the outdoors and skiing. So they moved their 4 kids from Cornish, New Hampshire to 100 acres in the mountains of Richmond, Vermont. And in the winter of 1961, Mickey rigged a 500-foot rope tow on 100 feet of vertical in the backyard. For 10-year-old Bobby and his sisters Barbara Ann, Marilyn and Lindy, skiing became a way of life. Ginny turned the kitchen of their 100-year-old farmhouse into a ski lodge. Dad, an athlete himself, took on the role of coach with the discipline of a sergeant. Bobby remembers his dad always wanted skiing to stay fun, but he structured their after-school workouts with the precision of an engineer. After a 4-mile run along the Winooski River, they did weight training and then went out to run a 15-gate slalom course under the floodlights he'd rigged from the back attic window. It didn't take long for all that practice to pay off. In 1967, Barbara Ann and Marilyn made the U.S. team. That same year, Bobby, a 9th grader, won the giant slalom at the National Junior Championships. And in 1968, at 16, he was also invited to join his sisters on the U.S. team, making him the youngest at that time to earn a spot on the squad. Bobby's rare talent covered all events. In 1971, he won 3 out of the 5 races in the Can-Am Series, as well as the Roach Cup downhill in Aspen. By 1972, Lindy was also on the US team, and all 4 Cochrans were set to go to the Sapporo Games until Lindy broke her leg. Bobby vividly remembers those Japanese games. Visibility was so bad, he couldn't see Barbara Ann's gold medal slalom run until she skied through the finish. But he was convinced her time was on top and jumped the fence with fellow teammate Rich Chaffee to hoist her up on their shoulders in victory. Bobby finished a creditable 8th place in the downhill. And the next year, in 1973, his mental toughness would earn him gold in the combined at the most demanding and dangerous event, the Hahnenkamm in Kitzbühel. Never before had an American stood on the top of that podium. And in March that year, he earned another American first, finishing number 1 at the World Cup Giant Slalom in Heavenly Valley, on a course fellow teammate and Hall of Famer Kerry Adgate labeled the toughest he ever ran. And he was presented with the Buddy Werner Award in recognition for his sportsmanship and leadership on the US team. Bobby turned pro in 1975, and in the 3 years on the circuit, he added more to the trophy case, including a 1976 overall third place in the World Pro Tour. After racing, he put that same drive and dedication into medical school, and today Dr. Robert Cochran is a physician in New Hampshire. He still loves to ski, and to take on a new challenge, he recently added Nordic racing to his resume. As the country's only not-for-profit ski area, Cochran Ski Area continues to grow, now operating 4 lifts, servicing 8 slopes. Bobby's children, Tom, Jim and Amy, along with their cousins, have had remarkable racing careers. In December, the first Cochran great-grandchild, Eli, was born, and according to Grandpa Bob, he'll be on skis too, maybe even before he can walk. Bobby admits the bar was set high in the Cochran family, and he looks back fondly on his life from a little town in Vermont to the mountains of the world. Now, with his sisters B.A. and Marilyn, the Cochran family legacy lives on in the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Please welcome from Richmond, Vermont, world champion and Olympian Dr. Bobby Cochran.
This is unbelievable for me. Tom told me to bring my prescription pad because so that I could try to make sort of a semi-reasonable presentation here. But again, Tom knows I'm a doctor and I can't read my writing, so sorry about that. Anyways, I wanted to start by saying I think we do need a moment of silence because I know this is Tiger country, but the Red Sox are playing the Yankees, and they really are trying to blow things, so please say a prayer for my Red Sox. Thank you. I want to say I'm in awe the more I see all of my fellow inductees, seeing Muffy and seeing what she's accomplished, and Glen and Daron and Shane and what Mr. Holding has done for this community. I'm in awe. So I feel overwhelmed by this. I do want to say the Upper Peninsula is incredible. I love this place. You know, I drove up to Markout Mountain this morning to look at the ski area. And you saw the ski area I grew up on. This place is immense. 500 vertical, my God. Anyways, it looks like a great place. The other thing I didn't have any idea about, which overwhelmed me today, was the heritage of skiing up here. You know, I think we're a little parochial back east, and we think we invented skiing, but I realized skiing had been going on for many, many, many years before any Easterner. I think it was a Dartmouth preppy guy that started skiing in the East, but you guys were doing it for years up here. So I'm very impressed with that. Frida talked about family, and to me, that's what ski racing is about, and skiing in general is about family. It's the best sport to do as a family, and that's sort of why I ended up doing it. Some Saturday morning, your parents say, get in the car, and you get in the car, and they start driving, and all of a sudden you're at the ski area. And so that's what you did. And of course, I had sisters, two older sisters who have been in this Hall of Fame. I didn't do the math, but it's been a long time. And so finally I get to join them so I can actually sort of sit next to them at the dinner table with pride. So I want to thank Tom and Frida and all the Hall of Fame to let me sort of join my sisters on an equal footing now. You know, the family, for me, my family was extremely important. We spent all winter in Europe racing, and you're sort of living out a suitcase, and it gets pretty lonely. And I always felt it wasn't fair because I had my sister, so when I wanted to cry on someone's shoulders, I know guys don't cry, but when I wanted to cry on someone's shoulder, they were always there, and it was great. And thank you to all my sisters. But really, I think everybody in the ski industry is a family. I went through the Hall of Fame today. I'd never seen it, and it's an incredible place. And you start looking at all the memorabilia and everything in there. But the thing that really struck me was the members of the Hall of Fame, all the people, and you just. I started going through, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember him. Oh, I remember him. And it is. We're a family. And I did want to had a couple of thank yous. You know, Frida mentioned heroes. I grew up having lots of heroes. A couple of heroes I wanted to mention was Buddy Warner was my hero growing up. I always think it's ironic that... you know, you say Buddy Warner, Buddy, and then you change the U to an O, and all of a sudden you've got Bodie. So I don't know how that happened, but I think somehow Bodie channeled Buddy. But Buddy was the king to me. I know some people think Elvis was, but to me, Buddy was the king. And I had the privilege of seeing Buddy Warner ski at Stowe in 1964, a month before he was killed tragically in an avalanche. But if there was ever a king on the hill, that was Buddy. And I always think the Prince was Billy Kidd, who was also my hero. And I happened to have the privilege of being on the ski team with him, and he was just elegance on skis. And so thank you to my heroes, Buddy and Billy. I just have a couple other people I wanted to mention. Glen started talking about the McCoys, who have sort of, Dave McCoy started Mammoth Mountain, and talk about a ski family. I think we take second fiddle to the McCoy family. But I grew up racing with Pancho McCoy, and he showed me, you know, when you go to Europe, you have to try to learn all these downhills, and it's a lot of pressure to learn them. I mean, for many people, it takes years and years. Well, Pancho took me under my wing. He'd skied all those downhills, and he was my mentor, and I have to say thank you, Pancho. And I did want to mention Spider Savage, who was tragically killed. Sort of, we won't talk about the circumstances, but he did teach me one thing that I still do to this day. You know, you're supposed to, when you're approaching someone on the ski hill from behind, you're supposed to say, you know, passing on your right, passing on your left, or just say right or left, or something like that. Spider said, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. So I don't. So, because he said, I'm the obnoxious guy that goes whoosh by you, hopefully. I'm less in control than I used to be, but I still try to go whoosh by you. But because he said, you know, if you yell out something, they get nervous, and then you don't know what they're going to do. So you have to get by them before they know it. So thank you, Spider. I guess the other thing I sort of wanted to mention briefly the unsung heroes to me of ski racers, which is our ski reps, who work long, long hours, and they really don't get any credit at all. And I think the only time you hear about them is when something goes wrong. I think one of the last Olympics, it might even have been Bodie. I can't remember who, but all the TV talked about was, well, the rep made his edges too sharp, and that's why he failed. But anyways, I had some great reps, and I won't name them, but they're the unsung heroes, at least for ski racers. I guess in closing, I just wanted to say, somebody asked me, you know, what advice I would give any young skier. And I sort of feel like an imposter up here because I failed most of the time. You know, in the Olympics, I fell. And I fell, you know, about 10 feet from the finish. So, I was a failure. And, but you pick yourself up. And so that's my advice is don't be afraid to fail. In fact, you're going to fail. I mean, everybody's going to fail. And keep failing because that's how you learn. And I think when Frida started talking about 38 degrees and 35 degrees, and there's a little nip in the air, so then you start thinking about snow. And so I just wanted to say, for anybody, just get out there in the snow when it's cold and snowy and sleety. And well, I'm from Vermont, so rain, snow, sleet, you name it. Just get out there and enjoy it. So thank you very much.
You know, Dylan, you're going to have to catch up with Dr. Cochran later tonight at the Ski Hall of Fame and ask him a little bit about that Hanukkah. Can you imagine that fast? That's wonderful. The Hall of Fame honors athletes, and you've seen two of the best. But we're also about honoring the people who have built our sport. Our next inductee earned his place in the history of skiing for his vision. Earl Holding recognized the potential and put the polish on Sun Valley, Idaho, America's first destination ski resort.
Two of our country's most prestigious ski resorts, Sun Valley and Snow Basin, have been meticulously shaped by Earl Holding's work ethic and attention to detail, which harkens back to humble beginnings in Salt Lake City. Shortly after graduating with a civil engineering degree, he and his bride, Carol, headed to the western prairie of Wyoming to help transform an ailing truck stop for the S.M. Covey family. It took 2 years, but Earl and Carol transformed the desolate outpost into the highest volume service station in the country. Today, as many as 5,000 travelers a day stop at this traveler's oasis that boasts its own zip code. The family went on to build Little America properties in Cheyenne, Flagstaff, and Salt Lake City. In a bold move in 1976, Earl bought Sinclair Oil. His business transformed a regional chain of travel centers into an oil company covering much of the territory west of the Mississippi. A year later, Earl heard that Sun Valley Ski Resort was for sale. He wasn't a skier yet, but he knew the hospitality industry. Founded in 1936 by Averill Harriman, Sun Valley was America's first destination ski resort. Meeting with Averill, the Holdings could see the potential of this once grand and glamorous year-round resort. So in 1977, they started a career in the ski business. Reporters proclaimed Earl bought a pearl. Assembling a team of dedicated employees, he launched his vision to restore Sun Valley to its original grandeur. His love for the Western outdoors and respect for nature helped fuel his ambition for the first project, planting more than 7,000 trees. He installed 7 high-speed lifts and the world's largest automated snowmaking system, covering more than 1,000 acres of skiable terrain. He designed the new day lodges to recreate the ambience of the national park lodges in Yellowstone, Glacier, and Yosemite. To top off the Sun Valley ski experience, he added an 8-passenger high-speed gondola. In the early 80s, Earl became involved in a small ski area in Utah called Snow Basin. The Holdings purchased the area in 1984. Earl recognized the value of Snow Basin's dramatic ski terrain. When planning began for the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake, he joined the organizing committee and set out to turn Snow Basin into a premier venue for the downhill and Super G events, as well as the Paralympic Games. For skiers, he added gondolas, chairlifts, and snowmaking. For spectators, he built 3 massive day lodges, including the spectacular John Paul Lodge near the top of the men's downhill. His 5-star 800-room Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City became Olympic headquarters. The success of the Salt Lake Games is a tribute to Earl's tireless efforts, working closely with community leaders and ski experts to ensure continuing success. The Holdings believe in teamwork. All of their endeavors are family enterprises. Carol and Earl passed on their work ethic to their 3 children. All of the Holdings know how to pitch in, whatever the task, to get the job done. For this legacy of quality and service to the ski industry and its history, the contributions of Earl Holding will forever be remembered in the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
For health reasons, Mr. Holding has not been able to be here with us tonight, but if you go to Sun Valley, a man that you'll know, he is the president of their marketing and their public relations, Jack Sibick, and if you can get a chance to make some runs with this man in Sun Valley, you'll know the heart of that mountain.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Mr. Holding's health prevents him from being here, and I'm honored to be here in his place to accept this from you. You see a lot of great athletes here, and I'm honored to be here to be part of them, but there is something in common, the vision and the work ethic. I've been very honored and humbled to work for the Holding family for over 33 years now, and at Sun Valley and at Snow Basin. The strength that we have at Sun Valley is our ownership. And they are just wonderful people to work with, wonderful people, and very humble. In fact, Mr. Holding would be embarrassed about being here because it's all about the guests, not about him. It's something that he's taught us for a long time, 100% guest satisfaction, and that's what it's about. The video says the family and teamwork and hard work. I was honored to be before in my position now. I've been many, many positions at Sun Valley for 33 years, ski school, all kinds, but I was night manager for many years of the whole resort. And Mr. Holding would call us every Sunday, and he would say, okay, what about this and what about this? And many days he would come up on a Sunday at 8 o'clock at night. He'd say, Jack, let's go look at the rooms. And we'd be there looking at rooms till midnight. He'd come down and he'd say, boy, wasn't that fun? He had the ability to work and work hard and be very humble at it. It's been a great experience for me to be a part of the Holding family and the operations at Sun Valley. He's got many Earlisms, and one of them, as you can see there from all the pictures, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. In Sun Valley and at Snow Basin, if you see the lodges and the facilities he has and the things that he's built, he was an engineer by education. You really didn't need those. I mean, 30,000-foot day lodge, and we have 5 of them on a mountain that only averages 2,900 people a day, excuse me. Half the time they're empty, but he looks at them and he goes, if it's worth building, Jack, it's worth building. Those lodges will be there long after you and I are both gone, and they'll still look like this. So he has these sayings that he brings up all the time with us. We're really going to miss him at Sun Valley and at Snow Basin as a leader and as a visionary. But it'll still be in the family, and we're going to keep his legacy going. And this is part of it, and the family is very honored to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack Sibick and the Holding family. I know Muffy's sitting there, oh yeah, and Jeannie Thorne's here, and all the years and runs she's made at Sun Valley too. How many of you folks have skied Sun Valley? Yeah, it's a wonderful place. Well, skiing has long been a sport for pioneers, whether skis were used to track new landscapes or lifestyles. Our 374 honored members not only include remarkable athletes, but revolutionary thinkers whose ingenuity has reshaped how we ski. And then there comes along a superhuman energy force that's an amazing blend of both.
Shane McConkey ranks as one of the world's best extreme skiers, dropping lines that most still label impossible. But Shane didn't like the word extreme. Instead, he defined his famous big mountain moves as free skiing, the freedom to ski your own style on your own terms. He grew up on the mountains of British Columbia and California. Dad Jim started the Whistler Ski School, and Mom Glen was 8-time National Masters champ. Shane was young when he started racing and always believed it was a solid foundation for learning the physics of skiing. As much as he wanted to be like his hero, Ingemar Stenmark, Shane wasn't bulky enough to be a career racer. Still, he was driven to push his skills forward. The park scene was yet to arrive, so in 1993, he entered the Pro Mogul Tour. The next year, he won the South American Free Skiing Championships and placed second at the World Extreme Skiing Championships. Shane continued to enter and win free skiing, big air, and skier cross competitions, but from the first time he watched The Blizzard of Oz, he realized there was another way to become a successful skier on film. He headlined in 26 films, known not only for his phenomenal skiing, but also for his zany sense of humor. His popularity also earned the People's Choice Male Skier of the Year award 3 years in a row. But his talent wasn't just for making his body work. Shane's wife, Sherry, recalls his Einstein-like passion for how to make equipment work better too.
So the idea behind these spatulas is they've got reverse camber and reverse side cut for ski and powder. And the funny thing is, everybody who picks them up is always like, oh, they look like water skis. I'm like, yeah, that's where the idea came from. So finally I just decided, I'd grab these water skis and mount them up. These are jumping water skis from the 70s, and they're huge, and I knew they would work.
Volant was the first to take the risk on Shane's Rocker Rebellion and manufacture his reverse side cut decamber design as the spatulas. When Volant folded, K2 stepped to the plate and in 2004 introduced his next generation rocker called the Pontoon. Thanks to Shane's vision, today nearly every ski and snowboard company offers some type of rocker design in their product lines. After the rocker, Sherry says ski boots would have been next on Shane's redesign list. But this 30-something innovator was riding another wave. Always ahead of the curve and seeking new lines of possibility, he put a parachute on his back and launched into ski-based jumping. Nothing captures freedom more than flying, and Shane was addicted. Like Superman, he would ski off a cliff, backflip off a tram, jump from bridges or buildings, and even antennas. Sometimes he wore a wingsuit to fly open-armed over the mountains and treetops, the landscapes he loved most. Shane admitted he would be nervous before a jump, but his wife Sherry jokes the only thing her husband was truly afraid of was an office job. On March 26, 2009, Shane was in the Dolomites of Italy, performing his trademark double backflip base jump for a film crew. It was a trick he'd done hundreds of times, but this one would be his last. He planned to release both skis before he deployed his parachute for landing. But when one ski didn't let go, he lost control, and for Shane, time ran out. News shocked the ski world, and for Shane's wife Sherry and daughter Ayla, life would never be the same. Original thinkers have long been lured to skiing, but it is what they leave behind that is the real measure of their inspiration. Shane McConkey tips that scale in every way. He not only ushered in a new brand of skiing, but also the equipment to make it happen. Some people have called him the most influential man to ever step on a pair of skis. And now, for a lifetime of looking forward, this prophet and his contributions will forever be remembered in the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen from Squaw Valley, California, please welcome Shane McConkey's wife, Sherry.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for having us here. I love your town. It's beautiful. I'm so happy to have been able to come here, and thank you to the U.S. Ski Board Hall of Fame. You're amazing. This is such an honor for me to accept this award for Shane. Last time I had to give a speech, I didn't know that I had to give a speech. So this time I tried to prepare for one, but I don't think you can ever prepare properly for a speech. So I'll just tell you a little bit from my heart. When people used to look at Shane, they would say to him, "Man, you have such a cool life. You just ski and base jump all the time, and your life's so easy." But Shane worked so hard his whole life to be what he was and how he was. He trained super hard. He worked at night in the office all day on his computer, doing things all the time. And that's how he carved his future into this world of skiing and base jumping. And I always would be baffled at my house with all these Einstein designs, and there'd be pieces of wood everywhere with little carvings on them, and then drilling holes into, skis of all shapes and sizes. And he'd come up with these designs and just changed skiing for life, and changed all of our skiing and snowboarding for life. And it's been amazing for all of us to ski on the skis that Shane made. He was an incredible father. As a father, he loved his daughter and constantly gave her belly laugh. He made her shriek with delight when he took her skiing, and he hold up in the air and jump high with her. It was frightening, but I had to do it. And then, his humor was nonstop. So one day, Ayla was about 15 months old. I had to leave because I had to stop breastfeeding. And I left for 3 days, and I came home to Ayla standing there with her shirt on, and suddenly she pulled her shirt up and was like, "Girls Gone Wild!" So I was constantly in this world of, okay, what's Shane going to do next? Send my mother and father horrendous movies of her, but I wouldn't send them. But my parents expected that, And as a husband, there was never a dull moment. He was just constantly teasing me, frightening me, making me do things that I've never would have done in my life, but did them. And he took me to the most incredible, beautiful parts of the world. I had an incredible adventure. And so my way of explaining to Ayla is, because she's obsessed with princesses, as I'm sure Muffy, you would know, I explained him as Aladdin, and he took me on the most amazing adventure rides on his carpet. And over the last 2.5 years, it's been incredibly hard. And the hardest part is knowing that Ayla won't grow up seeing his dad. But all of you have made it so amazing, showing the love of him and continuing for him to see that is for her to see the love is amazing. So she will always remember her dad. And thanks to the US Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, you guys are making it possible for eternity. And I don't know how to thank you. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Sherry McConkey. How many ski racers here tonight? Yeah, there's a few in the crowd, you bet. The stories cataloged by the U.S. ski team rank some of the best in athletic history. But one man has shown his amazing speed skills by winning more World Cup downhills than any other American.
Truckey's Daron Rahlves knows only one speed: full throttle. The most decorated American speed skier in history, he collected a total of 12 World Cup career victories and 7 U.S. national titles, along with an incurable need for speed.
Pretty much I've grown up my entire life skiing. I've been on skis since I was 3 years old. I'm 30 now, and it's what I love to do. It's kind of my reason for being.
Born and raised in Northern California, Daron found himself exposed to all kinds of sports. But with winters in Tahoe and summers in Clear Lake, Rahlves' focus narrowed to water sports, both liquid and frozen. At the age of 12, Daron's family moved to Tahoe to ensure he could concentrate on chasing his ski racing dream. During the summers, he pursued his warm weather passion, jet skiing. After just 4 years of racing 440 Superstock and modified classes, he became the expert world jet ski champion in 1993. Ironically, that same year, he was named to the U.S. ski team. 13 years on the national team netted Daron 3 trips to the Winter Olympics and 5 World Championship appearances. Rahlves officially announced his presence as one of the top speed merchants in the world in 2001 when he crashed an Austrian World Championships party in St. Anton, winning the Super G gold medal. He would also collect a pair of medals at the 2005 Championships in Bormio, Italy, with a silver in downhill and a bronze in giant slalom.
The light isn't all that bad. It looks like Daron's got it going here on the top part coming to the Augsburg. This next time is going to be critical.
And he's in the lead at the first split by 0.13 of a second.
His time on the White Circus also provided the opportunity for D-Money to join an elite club as a downhill champion of the internationally revered Hahnenkamm in Kitzbühel, Austria.
Approaching the finish line, the final jump, chasing Kusch, Daron Rahlves, the American, is in the lead by 0.05 of a second.
He accomplished this feat in 2003, adding a World Cup Super G win on the Strife to his resume the following winter. His desire to explore different facets of the sport of skiing prompted his decision to retire from World Cup racing.
Oh, Daron going big. Daron Rahlves down to the finish line. He goes over the last big kicker. Redemption is his. Daron Rahlves claims the gold medal.
He now splits his winter days between big mountain skiing and the ski cross circuit, excelling at both, having won Winter X Gold and representing the U.S. once again at last winter's Vancouver Olympics. An ambassador for Sugar Bowl, he continues his involvement with ski racing, working with the Resort Ski Academy and ski team, sharing his knowledge and experience with younger athletes. When not rocketing down a skier cross course or skiing magnificent mountains for films, Daron and his wife Michelle have full-time jobs raising twins Dryson and Miley. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Daron Rahlves to the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame this evening.
Unfortunately, Daron couldn't be with us here tonight. He's preparing his new TGR movie in Lake Tahoe this weekend, so he couldn't join us, but We hope maybe someday we could get him to cut a line, follow us over there at Rocket Run in Marquette. Anybody feeling the ski fever yet? Am I just the last one? Yeah, Dylan is, I know. Yeah, Dylan, you saw the Hanukkah again, right? You're getting ready, I know. You don't even have to wax. Last night, after we saw the Blizzard of Oz at the library, Dwight Johnson gave me the word. He said, it's infectious. Not just contagious, it's infectious. And when we're with the crowd, like the peeps here tonight, boy, it does get infectious. And we are waiting for that snow to fly. And you know, I hate to tell you that there really isn't a vaccine out there for it either. You just got to live through winter, you know, make the snow come. Well, if you aren't ready to dive down Rocket yet, or fly off Suicide, or tackle the hills out at El Qual, you will be in just a minute. I know this is going to hook you. Skiing does something to us. Not just our legs and our lungs, but our heads and our hearts. And once that door opens, it can never be closed. And that's the vortex that followed one wild and crazy kid from California.
Without a doubt, Glen Plake is the most recognizable skier in the world. He's made appearances on countless television shows, appeared in some of the most iconic ski movies, and he's been on the cover of countless magazines. He's even popped up in a few subway stations. Wherever and whenever you see this parrot-colored mohawk, fun is sure to follow. This California kid, born in Livermore, was just 2 when his mom put him on skis, and he's been playing in the snow ever since. Growing up on the slopes of Heavenly Valley, his heroes were the hot doggers, and it's no secret he punched his ticket to that bad boy scene too. A free spirit, he honed his skills on the race course and learned his lines in the mogul field, even spent some time on the U.S. Moguls team. But Glen admits he wasn't cut for FIS fame. He resisted the national team regimen and jokes that in defiance his trademark hairdo was born. More than most mountain towns, the hard-living, gambling streets of South Lake Tahoe tolerate rebels, and his mohawk made for a fitting crown for a 3-time world hot dog champion. The 80s were a time when freestyle skiing was blazing a path, and Glen was ramping up on the momentum. Searching new terrain to test his tricks, his real passion for skiing and his chance at becoming a, quote, pro skier came through the camera. Greg Stump took a chance including the 21-year-old in his 1986 film, The Maltese Flamingo, and the rest is history. In 1988 came Blizzard of Oz, the classic movie that changed the lives of so many free skiers, including steep and deep pioneer Shane McConkey.
I was at my high school living room, and that movie had a real big impact on me, just like it did for everybody else my age.
On that very shoot, Glen fell in love with France, and in particular, the high alpine lifestyle of Chamonix, where he still has a home. From the chutes of Europe's highest mountain, Mont Blanc, Glen continues to be challenged by some of the highest peaks in the Andes and the Himalayas, climbing with legend Remy Lecluse as high as 22,000 feet in India just to get those precious first tracks. According to Glen, skiing 50-degree slopes at 20,000 feet is a game where rules have not changed. Without a doubt, this evangelist lives and breathes skiing every day of his life, and not just at the posh destination resorts. For Glen, he's just as inspired roaming off the beaten path. He starts his winter in Chamonix, building legs and lungs on thousands of feet of vertical. Come March, he returns stateside to get on the road and carve, not only on the big mountains, but also on the smaller resorts that might only offer up a few hundred feet of vertical. Glen and his wife Kimberly don't mind. They chalk it up to their own down home tour mission. An annual road trip that started in 1991 on their honeymoon when they set out in a camper van and traveled 13,000 miles through 33 states, skiing 50 resorts in 68 days. From the lift line at these feeder areas, this Pied Piper and his partner learn what skiers and snowboarders need and want. Most often, the lessons come from the kids, a magnet to Glen's mohawk, an audience he recognizes represents the future of snow sports. What he gleans goes to manufacturers like Elan and Del Bello, where he works to continually refine equipment. Although there are some days and some conditions where the straight skis come out and Glen rips up a line for ski history's sake.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Real Thrills. We're at Mountain Snow.
Glen still uses the camera as a tool to preach the gospel. Since 1999, he's hosted RSN's Real Thrills TV show. For his zeal to keep it real, Glen Plake has been named one of the top 10 most influential skiers of all time. He's wild, he's worldly, and he keeps us connected. Like no other icon of our sport, Glen's passion bridges all cultures, from the wide-eyed beginners making stiff turns in rental gear to the fearless veterans ducking out of helicopters to lay a line in the Chugach. They relate and listen to this ambassador because he so freely shares his joy. And now, for his lifetime labor of love to our sport, Glen Plake will forever be honored at the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the one and only skiing bad boy, peacock, and preacher of the gospel of snow, Glen Plake!
Yeah, I don't know, there was definitely a time where now I think everybody's getting brownie points for like skiing on bigger, fatter skis for like the cool guy factor. There was a time where it was like you skied the longest skis just because you could.
I just had to ask that question.
Oh, wow. Oh, here we go. Geez. Well, for one, thank you very, very, very much for having me here for the hall. Where'd that thing go? In this spring, I had this like really huge speech, and today they were like, "Oh, it'd be cool to tell some stories, okay?" So I said, "Yeah, okay." I'm always usually good for a couple stories, but really, before I kind of get rambling, and then when you've had enough, I'll stop because I'm last. So keep you here all night. Anyways, I really have to thank the hall. My class is amazing. I'm so stoked to be with this group. What a diversity, and I think it really shows what skiing really is. It's a very unique activity that you can look. All of us come from different lives. We've all excelled in different disciplines. We've all excelled in through different challenges and all this, and it's just so beautiful that we're here in Ishmaeling where ski jumping was king in the 20s. Now it's the home of the Hall of Fame. By the way, you did see my truck. That wasn't taken yesterday. I've been here before. I've skied Marquette. I'm so stoked. And it's a real pleasure to be back here. But I just, one thing that always does intrigue me about skiing is how much variety it really has. Whether you're a ski jumper, a ski racer, ski mountaineer, ski whatever adjective you want to put on the back of it, it's great. And then also, like we keep saying over and over again, too, family sport. I mean, we can all get together and have a family softball game, but it's not you can't really have grandma in on the flag football game. But grandma can, in fact, go ski with her grandchildren. It's a really, I'm just reiterating again, and with that, it carries a lot on my heart and in my stomach and everywhere else when I'm finally been included into this thing called the Ski Hall of Fame. And this is when things start getting weird for me, because when I first got a hold, because I came to the hall, I filled out the little card, send me info and stuff, and I want to care about the Hall because I am a skier and I care a lot about the old times of the sport, and I really, really care about the future of the sport. And so I get letters from the Hall quite often, I'm sure you guys do too, about an event like this or that. And so I get this letter from the Hall, and I'm kind of like, yeah, all right, it's probably that same one where they want their $75 annual thing for the pin and the $120 for the patch. And Kimberly goes, have you read that thing from the Hall? And I was like, oh, no. Why? Should I? It's just a patch thing again, isn't it? She's like, no, you should read this one. And lo and behold, it was my the announcement that I had been chosen, which I was a little upset about, because when I came here the last time, I specifically said, it's going to be a long time before you see my name on any of these pictures. That happened quicker than I thought, and they used Metallica as a reference for me to be thrilled that I was being put in the Hall. They're like, Metallica just went in, and now we're putting you in. And again, I'm so thrilled at our class. I think years from now we're going to look back and 2010 was cool, man. There was a lot of stuff going on. Anyways, so, and I'm kind of getting behind myself, but whatever. I'm random. I called a friend of mine who's in the Water Ski Hall of Fame and said, hey, dude, they just put me in the Hall of Fame, or they're going to put me in the Hall of Fame. And he goes, yeah. You remember when I went in the Hall of Fame? And I said, yeah, that's why I'm calling you. And he says, yeah. And he kind of was like really aloof, let's say, in what he was speaking. And this is a good friend of mine. And all of a sudden he became very vague. And I'm like, well, and I'm like, well, and he's like, well, that one's, he's like, that one's kind of heavy. And I'm thinking, yeah. And I know for a fact that in April when we did the gala thing, it was a very heavy night. There was a lot of emotion there, most definitely. And so I'm thinking, well, yeah, of course it's heavy. I mean, gosh, I've been skiing since I was 2 years old. Now I'm in this thing called the Hall of Fame, which is this elite group of people that and he's like, trying to explain all this, and he vaguely said something like, that one's gonna hang out, that one's gonna be with you for a while. I'm like, yeah, all right. I can honestly say when I was introduced as our class being the newest members of the Ski Hall of Fame, that has stuck with me, and I know now what my friend was trying to explain to me. This one definitely sticks to my ribs. This is not a competition. This is not an event. This is not a cumulative grand total of points for the year. This is something that reflects everything that I've done and everything that I will continue to do. So that word member carries an enormous amount of weight on my heart and on my chest, and like Grandpa says, it sticks to your ribs for sure, no doubt about it. So that's like my serious thing. So again, thank you, and my wife. Of course, I have to thank my wife. I have to thank my mother for putting me on skis, using the daycare that we call the ski area. Any of you young parents out there, yeah, you get your kids skiing early, send them to ski school. You pick them up in 8 hours or so. My grandparents, my grandfather in particular, taught me how to work. He's an old California farmer. Oh, I said I wasn't going to do this. I was barefooting all week, so my head's full of water. Excuse me. But now my grandfather passed away. They're actually today's his ceremony, and he helped me. Sorry. He was an old 95 years old. So I'm not going to tell you when he was born, but he never bought anything, but boy, he fixed everything. And what couldn't be fixed, he made. And just really taught me how to work hard and do the things that you have to do what any of us have ever done. And Grandpa, man, he's cool. And his passing came with ease. Like I say, 95, perfect health. Just got old, man. And anyways, I know he knows what's going on today in him. And anyways, so blah blah blah. So for some reason, I'm about ready to talk about peeing in my pants again. I won't tell you another story. I'm going to tell you this one. I was a 4-year-old. I wanted to be a big-time ski racer. All the big kids on the ski team had, because they told me to just tell some stories, man. Don't worry about it. Like, it's just a bunch of dumb skiers in the crowd. Okay. Man, I was going to be on the big team. You know, I wanted a ski racing outfit like the other kids on the team. Anybody that's grew up in a ski team, man, you know, you got your outfit, your official outfit. But I was a little guy. One thing that I used to do when I was small was pee in my pants just about every day when I was skiing. I don't know if anybody else did. I mean, come on. You peed your pants. Did you not? Any hands? Yeah, Bobby's all, heck yeah, we did. Me and Bobby got a lot more in common than we think. Every time we start talking, no kidding, huh? Anyways, I had it written down in my speech in the spring to call skiing a hick sport, and he beat me to it. I was laughing my head off. But anyways, so I promised my mother that I would not pee my pants if I got the official ski team uniform. The next day, I broke my leg. I was 5 years old. I was laying on the slope. And believe it or not, I specifically remember exactly where I was laying and looking up at the power lines that are still there. And I had to use the bathroom. And the ski patrol said, you know, are you okay? And I'm like, well, yeah, I have to use the bathroom. And he says, well, it's fine, son. You know, just go ahead and, you know, pee in your pants. And like the day before, that wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But anyways, I had my brand new race outfit on, and the picture that you saw with me as a little 4-year-old was taken that morning. By dumb luck, I only have one picture of me as a child skiing. It's that picture, and it was the morning before I broke my leg, and I peed my pants that very afternoon, and then they ended up cutting them off of me, anyways, you know. But anyways, that's my pee pants story. So back to I'm backing up a little bit here. So pee pants story, little kid on a ski team, and I'm gonna tie this together. Watch. I grew up at Heavenly Valley. Our ski racing team was the Blue Angels. So anyways, I was traveling on a down-home tour to Marquette, actually a few years ago, to go ski, and I stopped at Pine Mountain. And we just drove by there yesterday, actually, and a ton of flash memories started banging through my head. I walk into the ski area at Pine Mountain. I don't tell anybody I'm coming on the down-home tour. We do not advertise it. It's not sponsored. There is no time frame. I could stay here a week. I could stay here an hour. I don't really tell anybody. I just show up, walk in. Hi, my name is Glen Plake. I'm here to do some skiing. Could you get me a lift ticket? Yes. The one thing I have pulled off, I've pretty much got free skiing everywhere. I'm a free skier. Anyway. Yeah. They go, oh, you need to speak to Rick. He's the mountain manager. And I go, okay, no problem. Well, where's Rick? And I go, and what is Rick's last name? And they go, Rick Gregornio. And as I turn around there, he goes, hi, Glenn. And I'm like, Rick Gregornio. Like the same Rick that was the mountain manager at Heavenly Valley when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And he's like, how's it going? I'm like, it's great, man. I'm here on a down-home tour. We tell our spiel, blah, 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 blah. And of course, he's very, very cordial. I haven't seen this guy in 30 years. And he was, in fact, our old mountain manager, or something like that. I know he was the guy that pulled our passes a lot. Anyway, so later on that evening, we're signing some posters, and I got the crew. We had a great crew that we were skiing with, and I don't know if anybody in the room I've had the pleasure of skiing with on the down-home tour, but we get a bit of a crew together, and we're doing old ballet tricks and hanging out. And yes, I know where the back door is, and I've had a beautiful lunch there. And I think my wife even baked cookies in the camper before we headed up there and took them up to the back door, so I contributed as much as we could. Anyways, we're sitting there, and some kid asked, like they do, so how did you get started? How did your career get started? And I try to be extremely honest because I've had a pretty crazy career, and I'm not afraid to pull any punches, so I start talking about my life on and it's funny because this table, there's no way anybody that was sitting at this room signing autographs would ever get caught in the same room with Rick Gregornio, the mountain manager at their local skier. I mean, this is the Rat Pack, and the last thing they want to do is be interacting with that guy because they know who that guy is. But anyways, I was telling stories about the Blue Angels. And I grew up, I was on a ski racing team called the Blue Angels. And at this point, Rick sticks his head in and goes, they were hardly angels. and I can honestly say we were not. But yeah, there's my I'm trying to bring it on up to that was a great trip, man. I love it up here. Like all of us have said, we love it up here. I Mount Bohemia, man. That place is great. And then the history here, and then now the home of the Ski Hall of Fame being here. I know exactly why it's here. I love telling the stories why it's here. I love standing up in Sun Valley last year at the gala, reminding people of where our Ski Hall of Fame actually is and why it is here, because skiing is a really kind of strange activity that takes place in the middle of winter by typically kind of strange people. It's relatively dangerous. It happens at the end of a dirt road in the end of some little dumb town in parts of all known, whether it's the snow-locked valleys of Europe or a funny little place up in here, Marquette, Ishpeming, Michigan area, and anywhere else in the UP and everywhere else for that matter. It is what our sport is. I love the beauty and the luxury that we have to go to our destination resorts, but at the same time, I love our ski areas, and I think our ski areas are what allow the destination resorts to take place, and it's where we're from. There's a few people from Sun Valley, but most people are not from anywhere. And I think a lot of the people in the hall are not from anywhere, and I'm proud to be associated with that group of people. Gosh, I don't know, I can keep rambling. But it's just, again, an honor. Wow. Yeah, wow. I carry this with me everywhere I go. And I let people know what it means. And I thank you guys very much. I thank the hall, and look forward to chatting with you, look forward to skiing with you guys, and have a great winter. And again, thank you so much for making my career possible. I am the last person that should have been skiing should have been his career. And I can honestly say that I'm a professional snow skier and have been for almost 20 years. Thank you.
That's our class of 2010, and the storytelling has just begun. We are going to conclude this evening the way we do every one of our events here at the Hall of Fame, and we are inviting the ski jumpers to come up on stage to share that classic song that we all need to get the words, and I think Dave's going to have those for us. Dave Poyer with Thunder and Lighting. We so appreciate his crew. But I'm inviting Coy, come on. You've got to come up here, those ski jumpers that know that song. Come on up. Let's get our chorus together. Come on, yes, come on up. Don Hurst, come on up and sing this song. All the ski jumpers, you bet. Classics. If you know the words, you come on up. They can do it. Just a trio? Oh, Knut, you bet, absolutely. There's the words. We're going to be depending on these gentlemen to carry the tune with us.
This is way out of topic here, but seeing you guys here, seeing this crew here, and was something written on my notes, and you know, the Ski Hall of Fame is a living thing. Like I said, I'm a member of it, and the sport's been going on for 100 some odd years. It's going to continue to go on for 100 some odd years. The skis are going to change probably again. Our techniques are going to change again. What's in fashion is going to change like 100 times. And I just think it's important seeing you guys in the front row. It's great to see you here. Tanner Hall's going to be in this one of these days. And I'm just so excited to not only see some of the past, some of the present at the moment, and also the future of skiers that are going to be standing here singing this ski jumpers song, I guess. Anyways.
Are you ready? Underneath. Every Sunday morn, there comes a bunch of skiers to jump and show their form. Oh, big and small and big, they all come dressed in skiers' rig. Jump until they're blue, and when they all get through, the president pulls the string, and they up the season sing. Ya, ya, disco. And the day is done, they hurry from the mountain to have a little fun. Oh, the small and big, the big and small, they congregate in Svenska Hall, and then they drink foaming brew. They take on a rosy hue. The president pulls a string, and they blow their foam and sing. Yeah, yeah.